Hey guys, so this is for the World of Warcraft fans. I did one last time talking about with I think it was like Dragon Ball Z and basically like lasting the most like with a supervillain like Cell or Frieza or Kid Buu, who you think you could like talk to or be around for the most amount of time without getting annihilated. Um, so it was pretty much between Cell or Frieza. Just have them talk about themselves, and how they're the perfect life form and the perfect being and how they're the ruler of the universe, and you'll make it just fine. Just keep feeding their ego, they'll be fine. But World of Warcraft put out this one. You're stuck on a 20-hour flight. Where are you sitting? So obviously the numbers implicate your seat. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Um, the only one I don't know is this, the fish thing. I don't know. Sorry. If it's like a dragonfly thing, that would probably explain it. Um, but other than that, also I know this one's one of the newer in War Within. So, but I mean, hey, we got Lord Walker Cho, we've got Brand, we got Alex Straza, but you kind of have to think it's a 20-hour flight. So who would be the most comfortable to sit around? Who would be the most interesting to possibly strike up a conversation with? Um, I definitely know as much as I love Illidan, he'd be the coldest of them. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't talk to mere mortals, or something like that. He would just be a downer the entire time. And he'd probably ask why he's on a plane when he has wings and can fly. Well, Illidan, ask yourself that question because you're the one who put yourself on this plane, buddy boy. Um, but we have right up here between Khadgar and this fish thing. I mean, come on, Khadgar. You know, he's not super old, but he's gone through so much in his life that he probably has a lot of stories that we don't even know. He tells great dad jokes. He's kind. He's comforting. He just gives off that warm presence. Um, so I would love to sit next to Khadgar. And then we have at the end number two between this fish and Thrall. Same, he's an orc, but he's massive. So I'm surprised he's even on this plane. But he's also very warm and genuine, and he cares a lot for people, and forging and keeping an alliance between them and the alliance, and he's got a family now. We meet, I think, his son in the Orc Heritage Armor quest. Um but the guy's going through a lot of stuff right now, so maybe as an outsider you can kind of help him through his problems, since he's still having trouble somewhat communicating with the elements. That you know maybe it's his own self-doubt or whatever, but maybe an outside influence, and maybe that 20-hour flight with someone who is not close to him or someone who he doesn't know might give him enough perspective to kind of work through whatever problems he has. um Plus, he'd be a great ally to have. After you get off the flight, that's another thing. After you get off this flight, who do you want uh around you, or picking up the digits for and saying, hey, let me call you sometime. So here we have number three. This is just an odd placement, but it's funny because it makes sense. Sitting in between Sylvanas and Tyrande. The two hate each other. So obviously it's a good thing that you're sitting there. Also, I love how we have Jaina and Malfurion all in the same row. Obviously, these two make sense. These two hate each other. These two hate each other. It makes sense to have Sylvanas there. But so about this one, uh, I don't think Malfurion or Tyrande would probably cause that much of an issue. They might look at you. I mean, you're a human, so they'll see you as some sort of uh outlet to talk to. Maybe not see you as some inferior race, or a member of the horde. um so you could probably have some. I mean, they're 10,000 years old. They've got plenty of wisdom, plenty of knowledge, plenty of stories they could tell. um You know, being druids and one being the priest of Elune, you could learn about all about Elune. I mean, I would love to learn about Elune. Who is she? What does she look like? I mean, this is a person who harnessed the power of the Night Warrior. So, you know, Night Warrior. And not only that, she also had Elune inhabiting her body for a short period of time um, while Elune was talking to her sister. So, I mean, um, but definitely would like to learn about Elune. And I'm sure as the high priestess of, you know, that, but I'm sure she has a lot to say about Elune, and we have just the entire flight, 20 hours worth of just talking about Elune. It wouldn't get boring because Elune, in my opinion, extremely fascinating. Xalatath down here, the upstart goddess is what she called her. So extremely powerful, and I would love to see and know more about her. And I'm sure Malfurion would just be like, whatever my wife is happy with. If my wife wants to talk about a loon, then I'm fine. He's a good man. He's a good man. He knows what it takes to make your wife happy. Now Sylvanas, are we talking about present Sylvanas, like current Sylvanas, who's been kind of reconnected with her spirit or soul and whatever, or are we talking about evil Sylvanas? I mean, I'm just trying to clear because either way, I'd love to sit next to her. I love her so much that I have a cat. Well, me and my friend have a cat named Sylvanas. She's a little tortie and she is absolutely adorable. But which Sylvanas are we talking about? Because the new Sylvanas, the current Sylvanas, just like Thrall, has a lot of stuff that she needs to work through, and maybe having an outside person sitting next to her would help her through a lot of that. Um, Jaina, I mean, she's nice. Um, but they're back and forth with her. It's like, oh, first she's really nice, and then she wants to friggin' blow people up, and then she's nice again, and then it's just back and forth with her. Um, so if I was sitting next to three, I would probably rely more on these two. Um, you know, you could ask Malfurion about the practices of you know, being a druid and what's it like and how does one convert. Um, you know, and he'd probably start talking about the wild gods and Malorn and Ursoc and all the other wild gods. And yeah, he'd be like, "Oh, you have to go see Cenarius." And but yeah, 20 hours of hanging out with these two who have been married for 10,000 years. If you're a person looking for you know, marriage advice, these are the two to go to. 10,000 years these guys have been married. It's insane. Um and then we have row 4. So we've got Manduin, Chromie, a grunt, and Illidan, our favorite angsty demon hunter. Again, Illidan, probably even weren't worried about him. You know, 20 hours, he probably just wants to be left alone. Now, if you bring up something like Fate or Destiny, or yeah, that'll just rile him up. You know, he's not gonna blow up the plane or anything, but you know, he'll go, "There's no such thing. You humans and your destiny and fate." Um, the grunt probably not going to cause much problem. Romy, I think, would be a lot of fun to sit next to. You know, bronze dragon, but also raises the question of why is she on the plane? She's a bronze dragon capable of flight. So there's that, but she's so small. You know, she's so small. She's so sweet. She's so loving. She's genuine. Um, you know, and she would probably go out of her way to make sure everyone on the flight is a-okay. Even some of the unsavory people. But I don't think she'd be much of a problem. You know, she's not going to be one. She might be like, because she takes, you know, the form of a gnome. She just might be really annoying at some points, but you just remember that she doesn't mean any harm. You know, it's not like other gnomes, you know, but Chromie, it's her personality. You know, she's not trying to be annoying. It's just, you know, she's just trying to help. And then we have Manduin. I mean, Manduin, just like Sylvanas and Brawl, you could probably spend the entire flight talking to him, helping him get through his daddy issues. Daddy's dead. He's got to claim, he's now king. Uh, but I saw one person say, "No, I don't want to sit next to Anduin. I don't want to sit next to a crybaby." And like Anduin starts, complaining and crying that the flight's too long. Um, and then he goes to sit next to Thrall to comfort him. But I think if any saving grace in this row, it would probably be Chromie. She just seems a lot of fun to be around. Number 5. So in between this person whose name I don't remember and Magni. I, the Speaker of Azeroth. We also have Lore Walker Cho. And our favorite dragon queen, Alexstrasza. It's funny, every one of these rows has at least one person currently going through some stuff. Magni is feeling cut off from Azeroth. He was hearing her voice and now he's not really hearing it anymore. So he needs someone to talk to. I have no person who this person, no idea who this person is. Now, Lore Walker Cho, I mean, come on. He's awesome. He's a freaking Pandaren. He knows like all the ancient history of Pandaria, which alone would take more than 20 hours to hear. Because again, this is a flight. So you want to be comfortable with not only where you're sitting, with the people you're sitting, but you want to be able to get along with them. And what better way to get along with them than by talking to them, you know? So, ancient history of Pandaria, he'd be nice enough to ask you about your history, where you came from. If you're native to, say, you're from America, are you native from America? I mean, native to America, or did your family come over? Where did they hail from? He'd want to learn everything about you and your history. And, that's what he does. He likes history. He likes to take all the history from people and learn it and acknowledge it and appreciate it. So he'd be pretty cool. Not to mention he's a Pandaren. He's fluffy and he's adorable. So, Alexstrasza, assuming current Alexstrasza, also a dragon who can fly. She's obtained powers, like immortality, or she's part of a. They regain their dragon type powers, thanks to Azeroth. Azeroth is now empowering the dragon flights. Just like everyone else, she's got a lot on her plate. Vernoth just kind of joined their ranks. She had to deal with some questionable things that she's done in the past, and she might not want to open up to some people, and having an an outsider. Sometimes the best person to listen to you and give advice is an outsider, someone who they think doesn't really know a lot about their situation, because then they can see it through fresh eyes and fresh perspective. Yeah, apart from this person who I have no fucking clue. I saw her in like the trailer or War Within or whatever, but that's all I know. But I think the saving grace for this row would probably be Cho, just because he's probably the most warm and genuine. I mean, there's really no way to describe the it's warm and genuine. I mean, he's warm. He's a freaking panda. It's covered in fur. He's warm. Oh boy. 6 or 7. Let's see, would I rather be in between Xalatath and Arthas, or Arthas and Illyria? Either way, we get to sit next to Arthas. So if it's a hot flight, well, guess what? You've got the Lich King sitting next to you, who's radiating coolness off of him. So you've got your own little personal AC unit right there, and it doesn't cost anything. But then it's the matter: do we want to our void goddess here, our former Naifu, or Illyria, who might have some problems on the home front with her husband Terrellian, opening up good opportunity for anyone who sits next to her. But Illyria or Zalatath? I think Zalatath would actually have no problem opening up to an outsider about her plan and what she wants to do. But again, why is she on a plane? She can open void portals all over the place if she wants. She doesn't need to be on a plane. But uh, uh, she's not really a blood elf, but she has the form of one, sitting next to Arthas and a beautiful blood elf. Who do I want? I mean, Arthas. Now, is it Arthas Lich King Arthas? I mean, that's how it's portrayed here. So, assuming we're sitting next to the Lich King, when Arthas was the Lich King, I don't see him as being problematic. I mean, you probably have to worry about some scourge popping up on the plane or something. But I mean, we have enough people there to have that under control, so he wouldn't dare try it. Um, you could talk to Illyria about her sisters and her family, or her son. Any one of those would probably strike up conversation because that's what you want in a long flight. You can't just something like, at least for me, I'm going into this meeting thinking I'm not going to be able to sleep for 20 hours. I can't sleep on a plane. So I'm going to have to find other means to entertain myself. So striking up conversation with the other passengers is probably the best way. So this is why I'm saying about conversation and stuff, just for me personally. So Illyria with her family, her son, her husband, her sisters, one of which is also on the plane with us, which things might get a little ugly, especially if one has to walk past the other to go to the bathroom or something. But that's when I say, is this current Sylvanas? Because I think Illyria would have an easier time dealing with current Sylvanas than old Sylvanas, where she was like, I'm the Banshee Queen, I'm going to kill Sourfang and help the jailer. And I think Illyria would have a better time reconnecting. Hell, she may even get up during the flight and go sit in the seat and talk to her sister. You know? But then we have Zalatath, who I still question her. She is like this harbinger, but when she was traveling with us as, in her not in the knife and the dagger, I mean, she's pretty she's also pretty cool. She acknowledges the fact that we are in fact stronger, probably stronger than any of her previous owners who she pretty much decided to leave. Whenever they were in a situation where they needed her, she just kind of let them die. It's like she acknowledges true strength, and we apparently have true strength as opposed to her other owners who she just like, nah, I'm bored. I'm leaving now. Have fun dying. Um, she's the one who gave us this whole, with Elune, with the upstart goddess, and let us know about, kind of about Elune. So only knows what other knowledge she has. Do I want knowledge about the universe or to talk to Illyria about family? Probably about the universe. Because she was there, the Black Empire. She she's been around for so long, so she's seen a lot. She's done a lot. So I think talking to her again, this talking to her would probably be more than 20 hours. That's why you're like, oh hey, yeah, give me your number, your Instagram something so we can keep in contact. Because I'd love to hear more about you and the coming of the void. I might convert, and become a cultist in service of the void. But yeah, she's just got knowledge. And what does Khadgar say? Knowledge is power, but using it wisely is key. but I think she'd be a lot more interesting to hang out around. She's got her mom jokes, it seems, but she also has a lot of vast knowledge, and just talking to her would probably be more fun, as opposed to someone who doesn't really seem to really want to talk about family right now, and especially with her interaction with Khadgar, we see he's like, "Oh, how's the family?" And she's kind of looking down, and he's like, "Oh, of course." Um, so I think if anything, I would tell her to go talk to her sister. It's like, "Hey, your sister's back there. She just got her spirit back, her soul back. She probably needs someone to talk to right now. She's she's in an aisle, in seats with people who all hate her. So she's probably feeling a little weird right now. So, maybe you should go help your sister. Go sit next to your sister. You are a member of the Alliance, so Tyrande and Malfurion, but you also speak on behalf of the Horde sometimes, so you can kind of connect with, Sylvanas again. But yeah, I think if it was anything, Arthas, I don't think would pose much of a threat, especially with so many powerful people on board. And I think Zaltath, just having the knowledge of the universe and stuff like that, um, she'd just be more fun. I mean, is she evil? Yeah, but she's nice when she has to be. And if she knows she's going to be stuck on a flight for 20 hours, she's going to be as nice as possible, because she understands that if she gets out of line and starts acting up, any one of these people, you know, they might have a thing or two to say. But, Illyria. So, so in the end, I've gone through every situation. So, let's see. I think I'd have to go with two. I mean, I love Khadgar. I love his jokes, but Thrall definitely needs the help right now. Still not able to commune with the elements properly because he's still doubting himself. Um, so I'm gonna go through each one and just say where I'd rather sit, but then sit in general. So between these two, one and two, I'd say two. Um, between these two, I would sit in six. But in general, uh, uh, I mean, I would have to say three, because not only can you learn about Elune and about the Night Elf Society and you know Juratic practices through with Malfurion, but you also get to possibly help the current Sylvanas through a lot of problems. 20 hours talking to Sylvanas, after she's regained her spirit and all her soul and all that. You know, you can do so much good in this row as opposed to any of the others. Like, yeah, all of them are cool. Like, you could help Anduin or Magni, but the vast knowledge of Elune from Tyrande, plus being able to help them, help Sylvanas, and then you have Jaina to look at. I mean, come on. As opposed to, say, down here, learning about the universe, but then kind of sitting next to Arthas and be like, okay, well, at least it's cool. But then again, you've got Jaina in the same row, so you'd be kind of. I'm sure she can cast some kind of frost spell to, radiate through, to make her row nice and cool. Um. So yeah, I think above all, I'd probably pick, number three, just because it seems, if Tyrande got tired of talking, I'm sure Sylvanas would want to talk, and if he had to, you could talk to Jaina. She seems to be, even though she's back and forth, she does seem to be diplomatic when she needs to be. Um, you can ask about her mom. They just reconnected not too long ago, so you'd be like, "Oh yeah, how's your mom?" You know, get her to talk about normal things. And it's just like Boo or Frieza or Cell. When in doubt, just have them talk about themselves. You know, Just have them talk about themselves. Um, except for this guy. And then, you're like, hey, why don't you just talk about yourself? And then he's all like, me not that kind of orc. So, but yeah, aisle 3. With so many lovely, no. Now, you know what? I might as well, with so many lovely ladies on aisle, so many lovely ladies right there. Guess we're gonna need a cleanup on aisle 3. John, you're stupid. But yeah, aisle 3. Anyway, what about you? Um, where would you prefer if you were stuck on a 20-hour flight? Where would you sit? Um, and why? What makes that character more interesting to sit near? And if you said Arthas, are you not afraid of him just turning you into turning into a scourge and undead? Do you think Illidan would actually be talkative, or do you think it's like, oh, I don't talk to mortals like you? And also, who the fuck's the fish? I'm sorry, I'm not really playing WoW right now, and I haven't played enough of Dragonflight to know who the fish is. So, who's the fish? Who's the fish? I want to know. Imagine if you fell asleep right next to this guy. You'd be sleeping with the fish. Sorry, a little bit of Italian. You're sleeping with the fish. Anyway, that's I'm done. I'm done. Bye.